Houston, Texas is known for its entrepreneurial spirit, a place that allows you to live a life as big as you can dream. But we didn't know how big that life could be until we met Welcome Wilson Sr. Growing up in Depression-era South Texas, Welcome Wilson showed very early on a knack for entrepreneurship.
It was in elementary school in Corpus Christi that I had my first encounter with entrepreneurship. I noticed in the cafeteria that they had a spot where people would return their plates. Dishes were always falling over and food falling off of it. It was just a big mess in the pile in the corner of the cafeteria. So there I was, 6 years old, so I started cleaning the plates and stacking them up. Well, about 3 days after starting to do this, the cafeteria people said, well, we're going to give you free lunch. Lunch was 15 cents, okay. Big at the time. So that was my first experience that if you see a need and you figure out a way to fill it, you will be rewarded. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about.
So you had all these grow-up years down there around South Texas, and finally, I think when you were about 18, it was time to go to the big city.
My father decided that he wanted me to be part of the city of Houston because the city of Houston had 500,000 people. He felt like it was going to be the center of the earth in due time. And so he had located this University of Houston, which was sort of an obscure college at the time. And he decided that's where my brother and I should go. So in September of 1946, he took us to Houston, Texas to enroll at the University of Houston. And he said, now, whenever you need anything, I want you to call me up on the telephone. That's the way we talked in those days. He said, call me up and tell me exactly what it is you need. And boys, I'll explain to you how to get by without it. And Russ, we never heard from him financially again.
And never
the rest
called
of our
him
life.
to tell him what you needed.
He felt like that self-reliance was the most important thing he could teach us.
Well, tell me about your university life.
Well, I worked full-time. In fact, usually with 2 or 3 jobs. Not that it was any burden. I mean, I don't want to think that I enjoyed every minute of it. My principal activity was being the business manager of the student newspaper. And I was thrilled when I learned that it was a paying job. And how did I get it? I went out and sold advertising. And they used to have to horsewhip students and to go out and sell advertising. Well, I was happy to do it because I was always anxious to do something other people were unwilling to do. And so my brother and I, it took 6 or 8 months, but we were the richest people on campus.
I understand you met your wife there at the University of Houston as well, right?
I did, at a Sadie Hawkins Day dance.
All right.
When I got there, I sat across a card table from this beautiful, beautiful woman. And I didn't even get her name. She never spoke during the entire evening. She was very quiet, very shy. So the evening ended, and I lost connection with her. And so for 6 months, I looked around the campus trying to find this beautiful girl. And then one day on August the 27th, 1948, I bumped into her in the hallway. And then we've been together ever since.
After graduation, marriage to Joanne, and service in the Navy, Welcome began a career that has lasted over 63 years, a career that is all about making friends. These friendships, partners, and mentors would last a lifetime and help create the Houston we know today. Entering into government service in 1956, he was appointed by President Eisenhower as Regional Head of Civil Defense and was named one of the 10 outstanding young men in federal service in 1957. Welcome witnessed the first H-bomb test explosion in the Pacific. He was with JFK when he gave his famous "We Will Go to the Moon" speech, and he was with him the night before his fateful trip to Dallas. He was with LBJ and Royal Hofheinz the day the Astrodome opened, and LBJ appointed Welcome Special Ambassador to Nicaragua in 1966. If all that were not enough for one lifetime, Welcome is a developer without peer.
So eventually this career of yours and your interest headed down the direction of real estate and real estate development.
Well, I was going to be an oil man, I thought, when I went to work for Bob Smith. I was going to go to Snyder, Texas, where he had drilled 92 oil wells without hitting a dry hole. 92 producing oil wells. And he decided that the oil business was over for the independent. He was wrong, but he said, welcome, a single well now will cost $25,000 to $50,000. He said an independent just can't raise that kind of money. Only the majors are going to be able to do that. And he was mistaken, but he said that I ought to go in the real estate business instead.
You've just had an incredible life, Welcome. But there's probably, you know, one or two do-overs that you might like to have. And what would you like to do over?
Well, in the early days of developing, my first project was Jamaica Beach in Galveston. Big success. And I figured that I was fleet-footed enough, smart enough, fast enough, etc., to handle anything. Well, I was wrong. Because there are certain things over which you have no control. The most notable one is the economy. You know, they talk about real estate being location, location, location. It's not. It's the economy, the economy, the economy. And since that time, I have seen so many other young real estate developers have a few years of success in a boom and think it's because of them, and not realizing it's only because of the economy. And so anyway, I wish that I had not decided I was invincible, because I wasn't, and I paid for it.
Despite ups and downs of the economy, Welcome's business and family life have been anchored to the city of Houston. In order to give back to the city he loves, he's been an untiring booster of the University of Houston. Fulfilling a dream he had as an undergraduate, he first became chairman of the Board of Regents, and now is chairman of the Drive to Tier 1 for the university. So, what is it that makes Houston special?
We have lots of people with fire in the belly. Let me contrast Houston with almost any other city in America. There's a city north of here that will remain nameless, that it seemed to me 40 years ago that if you went there and succeeded, they resented your success. In Houston, Texas, in the 65 years that I've been here, we've always applauded success. I don't care whether you came from England or California or wherever you came. If you came to Houston and made a success, we all wanted to do business with you. We thought it was great. And the city of Houston has had that fire in the belly, and it's had leaders who were willing to go out of their way and go the extra mile. And that's why Houston is the city that it is today. 6 million people.
Welcome. Has it been a great life?
Being 83 is not all bad, because everything I buy comes with a lifetime guarantee. I never thought I'd say to myself, oh, to be 65 again. That was almost 20 years ago. So it's a great life, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.